Hey everybody, Craig Warrack here with a review of the Link figure from Figma. Link is of course from Nintendo's Legend of Zelda, but this figure is specifically of his appearance in the Twilight Princess installment. I picked this figure up from AmiAmi.com for about 6,500 yen, which is about £45 or 60 US dollars. Let's look quickly at the packaging. The window box is very nice, giving us a decent look at the figure and the accessories. Some of the accessories are difficult to see here though, but that's really because this is the Deluxe DX edition. He comes with more accessories than the regular edition, which costs about 5,500 yen. The sides of the box show very nice big close-ups of what we can expect inside, and the back shows us the figure with various accessories in action poses, but we can see all that for ourselves by cracking this guy open. Link is looking great out of the packaging, so let's focus in on the figure itself before we move on to the accessories. Height-wise, Link stands about 5.5 inches tall, which is just a little smaller than the Teenage Marvel Legends figures, which seems small, but it's appropriate, I guess. The sculpt is really nicely done across the figure. The face is simple, with Link's angular features coming across well. His hair also captures the more anime-inspired look of this character design. Similarly, the body isn't super detailed with textures, but the folds of the clothing, stitches and embellishments are nicely rendered. The gold chainmail beneath his green tunic looks especially impressive and makes this version of Link seem that little bit more of a badass than usual. The overall paint scheme is nicely done, with the dark, muted colours carrying the more sombre tone of the design in game. That darker tone is particularly noticeable when he stood alongside previous Link figures, Skyward Sword on the left and Link Between Worlds on the right. There is some sloppy paint application with the green bleeding onto the belt, and in particular the gold just looking like it's been blobbed on around the back of the figure, but that doesn't bother me too much. What I find more irksome is the lack of any colour variation. Like I said, the sculpt is great with these embellishments and stitches, so it would have been great to get a dark wash or some highlighting to work with that sculpt. But moving on to articulation, and this figure is seriously impressive. The articulation is cleverly thought out and engineered to work with this character design. I won't go through all of the articulation, but highlights for me are the articulation on the hat, which on previous Link figures was a simple swivel, but here has been upgraded to give up and down movement as well. That's brilliant. Also, there's a hinge hidden under the collar of his undershirt. It doesn't give a huge range of motion, but it's a very clever way to hide that additional articulation. His torso articulation is similarly hidden under the straps crisscrossing his body. The skirt does inhibit his articulation a little, but it's made of a soft plastic, and he still has a good range of motion, and borrowing from another legend, this is his widest stance possible, still with both feet flat on the floor. The absolute highlight of the articulation scheme is the shoulder articulation, which is perhaps the best for sheer range that I've seen on any figure. The combination of joints in the shoulders and the angles they've been inserted at allow all the usual poses, but they also articulate really far forward. Link can keep his elbows straight and still cross his arms in front of him. That's an amazing engineering feat there, and I expect that's going to come in really useful when we get him holding some of his accessories. Before we head down that route though, let's take a look at some of his accessory body parts. Link comes with these three faces showing varying degrees of anger, I guess. They can be changed out by pulling on those J-pop bangs of his and then separating the face from the hair. It's worth noting at this point that his questionable sideburns are made of a very soft plastic, almost rubber even, so they're not going to snap off during the process. The other faces can then be slotted in and the hair popped over the top. The face he's packaged with is fairly neutral, then he has this grimacing face, and then his shouting face. It's not a huge variety of expressions, but it's always good to get these kind of options. Link also comes with alternate hands that can be popped on and off easily. He is packaged with these closed fists, but he also has open fists for holding his accessories, open splayed hands, and hands specifically for using his bow, which are exclusive to the deluxe edition, I believe. And as ever, these Figma figures come with a little holder for the alternate parts, and gift from the three goddesses, these little bags to keep all this stuff from getting lost in drawers and toy boxes. So, while Link has his open fists on, there's no better opportunity to get stuck into his accessories, focusing firstly on those that come with the regular edition of the figure, and where would Link be without the Master Sword? Well, probably in the early stages of the game. But anyway, here it is. And it's looking spectacular. The detailing on it is perfect, with the colours really highlighting the ornate detail. The paint is applied on the minute ornamentation very accurately here, and I'm loving it. We also get the scabbard for the Master Sword, and again the detailing is really well done. The sword fits tightly into the scabbard with a nice click, but not so tight to wear at the paint. The scabbard has a peg on one side so that it can be attached to Link's back, or I suppose to his waist here for a different look. To get the sword into Link's hand, the grip is removable from the crossguard and can then be threaded through his closed fist and reattached. He looks great holding it, and the excellent articulation in the wrist allow him to raise it skyward. And even better, that wonderful shoulder articulation lets him get a two-handed grip on it. Link's other trademark accessory is of course the Hylian shield, and it's also looking great here. Again, the detailing is great, and like the sword, the grip is removable along with the arm strap. It threads through the closed fist and then reattaches to complete the look. Link looks great holding the tools of his trade, and because the shield can attach to the scabbard, he also looks good with them stowed on his back. Link also comes with this Figma branded stand which can plug into the hole in his back or on his belt, and also comes with this pincer attachment to support him in other poses. Now let's take a look at the additional accessories that come exclusively with the deluxe edition of the figure. We get this additional sword and scabbard. This is the Orden sword, which Link was tasked with delivering to Hyrule Castle just before the Twilight invasion began. The accessory itself looks great. It is of course more plain than the Master Sword, but has no less attention to detail. It works exactly the same as its fancier bigger brother, so it's a great addition, although made a little redundant by having the Master Sword there. More essential is the hero's bow. Again, the detailing on this is great with the wood and metal contrasting nicely. The grip separates to let it thread through the open fists, but Link has this unique hand for holding it that has the index finger extended slightly. It's a really nice detail. As you'll be able to see, the bow doesn't come with a drawstring, but it does come with an arrow, which is again nicely detailed. Link has another hand that's designed uniquely for holding this, and the end of the arrow pegs into a hole between the fingers. The great arm articulation allows Link to hit important archery poses. To complement this look, the deluxe edition also comes with the Hawkeye mask. It's essentially an alternate hairpiece, so swaps out for Link's bangs over his face. It fits over all of his faces, but I think it looks best over the one with the gritted teeth. I love this combination of accessories. Moving on from the surgical precision of the hero's bow, let's take a look at the ultimate blunt weapon, the ball and chain, or as I'm just finding out the cooler Japanese name, the chain hammer. This is quite a hefty chunk of plastic with a nice thick metal chain attached to it. The detailing on the ball itself is nice, but the grip is just a plain silver piece of plastic. It fits into Link's open fists easily, but as the chain is just a normal chain, not wired or somehow posable, it just hangs there with the ball consigned to the ground. But the deluxe set also includes this additional Figma stand, which can plug into this port on the ball, giving us a little more scope in posing this accessory. Ideally, the chain hammer would have had a posable wired chain or something, but then that would be difficult to balance, so I appreciate the effort of including this extra stand. Link's final accessory is a total Zelda classic. It's the hook shot. Well, actually in Twilight Princess it's called the claw shot, but we all know what it is. I think it looks stunning. The detailing on it is brilliant, and finally we get a dark wash of paint in there to accent that great sculpt. The claws look nicely weathered with that paint job, and there's also some reddish tones suggesting rusting. The guard and grip pop off so that you can thread it through Link's open fist, and he looks great holding it. The claws don't actually articulate, but they do have a tiny bit of give to them, so you can have Link attached to objects or grip them. But instead of the articulation, we get this alternate open claw. Again, it's nicely detailed, and it just swaps out for the closed set. But what's a claw shot with claws and no shot? Well, it's just a brutally medieval looking murder device, that's what. So luckily the hook shot has a metal chain that can be attached between the claw and the grip to simulate it shooting out. Again, with the use of the additional stand, or perhaps just so you can have Link dangling from on high. Again, it'd be great if the chain was somehow articulated to hold a pose rather than use a stand, but well. So I think that's me about covered everything there is to cover with this figure. In summary, the base figure itself has excellent, cleverly designed articulation, but beyond that, it's a bit disappointingly plain. He really could have done with some additional paint applications to make him feel more realistic. The accessories he comes with are the real highlight though. They're excellently made and thought out, and all the additional options available in the deluxe edition are particularly welcome, especially for the small price difference between the regular edition and the deluxe one. So there's no doubt this is a great set. Is it worth the price I paid for it? I'm not sure. The price of the figure alone is pushing the limits of affordability for me, especially when you add shipping and the inevitable insanity of customs and handling fees on top of that. But at least with this set you're getting a lot of playability and options, making it a little less painful. They really weren't kidding when they called this the deluxe set. I'm blown away by all the accessories, and I think I can safely say that this is my favourite Link figure to date. I'm going to be taking a look at the Twilight Princess Zelda figure next, so I can't wait for Link to have some company and for my Triforce holder trio, including my custom Ganon of course, to finally be complete. I hope you've enjoyed this video, so hit that like button please, subscribe, drop me a comment, and why not let me know which Zelda game is your favourite? Personally, I am torn between A Link to the Past and A Link Between Worlds, although Breath of the Wild was a welcome breath of fresh air. Anyway, I hope to see you in the next video, so until then, pour on the power. Bye bye.